America held its breath over a lie.
Yeah, it's a flying saucer.
It's a flying saucer.
Yeah.
And that's gone too, right?
I'm sorry?
How long is the flying saucer gone as well?
Yeah, about 20 minutes, I think.
They've both been missing for about 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta get my son.
Okay. Hang on just 1 second. Don't hang up, okay? Just a minute.
I'm going to ask all three of you to hang on just a minute because we have rather an incredible breaking news story that we're following right now. And this is coming to us out of Colorado. What you all see right there is an experimental aircraft that inside of which is a 6-year-old boy.
On the morning of October 15th, 2009, at exactly 11:29 a.m., Richard Heen called 911 in a panic. He claimed his 6-year-old son, Falcon, had climbed into a homemade silver balloon, shaped like a flying saucer, and was now drifting through the sky over Colorado. "It's flying! It's a flying saucer! My son's inside!" The emergency operator could barely keep up, and within minutes, so was the rest of the world. TV stations interrupted broadcasts. News anchors announced that a child was flying thousands of feet above ground in a thin, unstable balloon. Live footage showed the craft floating through the air, dangerously close to power lines, while helicopters followed and emergency services scrambled to react. The balloon, 20 feet wide, soared 7,000 feet up and covered 50 miles across multiple counties. Flights were grounded, roads were shut down. The National Guard even joined the chase. People stood frozen, eyes glued to the sky, terrified of what might happen if the balloon dropped. Then at 1:35 p.m., it crash-landed in a field northeast of Denver. Deputies raced to the scene, cut the balloon open, and found nothing. No boy, just empty foil and confusion.
Sitting there open, but again, there's no child here.
"There's no child here," one officer said. "So where is he?" What followed was a full-blown investigation. Police combed the Heen home and questioned the family non-stop. Then at 4:14 p.m., a deputy heard a noise in the garage attic. Moments later, Falcon appeared, alive, perfectly fine. He said he'd been hiding because he was scared of getting in trouble for messing around near the balloon. His mom cried during interviews, saying she'd been sure her son was gone forever. But just as everyone began to breathe again, something weird happened. That night on CNN, the family sat down for an interview.
He's asking Falcon, did you hear us calling your name at any time? You did?
You did?
Why didn't you come out?
You guys said that we did this for the show.
Yeah.
The boy casually dropped a bomb. "You guys said we did this for the show." Silence. The parents froze. Viewers stared in disbelief. The truth unraveled fast. Turns out the whole thing was a publicity stunt. Richard Heen had built the balloon while secretly filming his family for a reality show pitch. Falcon was supposed to hide in the basement and come out later, but instead he crawled into the attic and fell asleep. Still, the lies spun out of control. 3 days later, Sheriff Jim Alderton declared the event a full-blown hoax. Richard was hit with felony charges and sentenced to 90 days in jail. His wife, Mayumi, got 20 days for false reporting. The story dominated the internet, with 34 out of the top 40 Google searches focused on the balloon boy. Late-night shows roasted them. Memes exploded. In 2020, Colorado's governor pardoned both parents, but they've always claimed they never meant to fool anyone. Still, the damage was done. Millions of people panicked over a balloon and a boy who was never in it.
We did this for the show.
Yeah.
Sealed for a reason. March 23rd, 2001. Some dude named Ted starts dumping his creepy cave journal online. But the story really kicks off on December 30th, 2000, when he and his buddy B were screwing around in a cave they thought they had fully explored. Except this time they spot a weird little hole in the wall way down at the cave's lowest point. Ted gets down, peeks in, and boom! He feels air coming out of it. A breeze. Meaning, there's more cave behind it. Uncharted, unexplored, untouched. Instead of turning back like sane people, these morons decide to open it up, carving out a tight-ass passage so they could squeeze through. Fast forward to January 27th. They're hammering away at this hole when shit starts getting strange. The wind from the gap? Strong as hell. Then a low growl echoes from inside, like something deep, massive, and pissed. They chalk it up to trucks rumbling above the cave. Sure, denial's a hell of a drug. Even their dog wasn't buying it. Refused to go near the hole. Just freaked the hell out. Then comes the scream. Ted said it was the worst sound he's ever heard in his life. 10 seconds of raw nightmare pouring from that goddamn hole. They keep going. Eventually the hole's big enough. Ted shimmies through. What does he find? A fat, perfect boulder, smack in the middle of a creepy little chamber. Walls covered in bizarre symbols. Looked like people worshipping some whacked-out sign. He snaps pics on his cheap-ass Polaroid, crawls back out, and when he develops them, nothing. Completely blank. The rock, the symbols, gone. So they bring in another guy, Joe, a solid caver. Dude goes in, stays just a few minutes, comes back pale as a corpse, says nothing. Just, nope, never going back in. That's it, done. Now Ted's running out of options. So what does he do? Yeah, he goes back in alone. Dumb move. He crawls in and bam, that goddamn scraping sound again. The round boulder, it's moved, like it's alive. A putrid stench fills the space. Something's in there. Something bad. Ted bolts, dragging B with him. But before they make it out, the rope jerks hard. Something's climbing up after them. B slashes it, and whatever was chasing them falls back into the void. But they weren't done. May 19th, 2001, Ted posts again. They're going back, this time fully loaded with gear, cameras, proof, guts, and tech. But then, nothing, no follow-up, no footage, no final entry. Silence. Now, people online were torn. Some swore it was real. The updates, the photos, the raw fear in the writing. But here's the kicker. It was fake. All of it. Total fiction. Back then, internet horror stories weren't really a thing yet, so people believed. Years later, in 2004, the guy behind Ted joined a forum thread and confessed. They did explore the cave and snap real pics. But the creepy symbols, the evil boulder, the chase scene? Pure bullshit. Still, none of that mattered. The story exploded. It became the original creepypasta, the godfather of fake horror tales online. A whole genre was born in that cave, and Ted the Caver lit the damn fuse. Poison on live TV. Back in the 90s, during the Croat-Bosnian War, Slobodan Praljak ran his troops like a damn dictator. Under his command, Bosniaks were hunted out of Herceg-Bosna, locked up, enslaved, tortured. Camps like Dratelli turned into hellholes where prisoners starved and screamed. And to crush their spirit? He ordered the destruction of cultural icons, including the ancient Ottoman bridge in Mostar. Classic war criminal playbook, fast forward to 2004. Praljak turns himself in to the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. He faces charges for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and breaking Geneva Convention rules. Dude even defends himself in court, calling it all political nonsense. Spoiler, it wasn't. They nailed him with a 20-year sentence for murder, forced deportations, and using civilians as meat shields. Then came the finale. November 29th, 2017. Praljak stands at his last appeal in The Hague. Judges say, "Yeah, you're guilty." The room's dead silent. He stands up, throws out a defiant, Slobodan Praljak is not a war criminal. I reject this verdict. And gulps poison on live TV. Boom, chaos. Medics rush him out, but it's too late. Cyanide. Dutch authorities confirm it. No one knows how he smuggled it in. The place is supposed to be secure as hell. Turns out the guy had planned it all. Mailed his crap back to Croatia, wrote goodbye letters, the works. While some Croat nationalists hailed him as a hero, the tribunal didn't flinch. Their verdict stood, Praljak was a war criminal, and thousands paid the price under his command. Death in the spotlight. April 15, 1984, legendary British comedian Tommy Cooper was doing what he did best, making millions laugh during a live broadcast of Live from Her Majesty's at Westminster. Mid-act, he threw on a magician's cloak with help from his assistant and said his final words. "Thank you, love." Then he dropped flat on his back. The crowd, roaring with laughter. They thought it was just another gag in his chaotic act. But behind the curtain, panic set in. Cooper wasn't moving, just shallow, ragged breaths. The show's crew realized fast this wasn't part of the act. His son later confirmed Cooper's back issues made it impossible for him to fake that kind of fall. The show awkwardly cut to a commercial. In the darkness, crew members scrambled, trying CPR. But because of dumb broadcast rules, medics couldn't reach him right away. So the show rolled on. Curtain shut. Next, comedians forced to perform while chaos erupted backstage. Eventually, Cooper was taken to the hospital, but it was too late. He was dead on arrival. 12 million people had just watched a comedy legend collapse and die. Live on TV. His death wasn't confirmed until the next day. But that night, every news bulletin led with one haunting truth. Tommy Cooper died on stage, and the world laughed, not knowing. The Forbidden Word. November 2015. Some rando on 4chan drops a story about a weird-ass word he heard from a girl at work. She was homeless, played in a punk band, and worked in some sketchy warehouse about to shut down. One day, her boss handed her a tape gun. Nothing strange, except the tape had one word on it. Aristas. She asked a co-worker about it. Dude straight up freaked. Told her to ditch the tape, never say the word again, and warned her the company watched people who searched for it. That post? It blew up. No one on 4chan knew what the hell Aristas meant, and that made it worse. Then it came back. A month later, another Anon claims Aristas is some HR spy software used by corporations to track employee activity. Unilever, UPS, and other big names got name-dropped. A creepy YouTube video surfaced. YouTube is monitoring and controlling my life. Posted by a user named Kronos for Life Jurassic Park. Yeah, that's real. Kronos claimed Aristas was stalking him online. His captions hid secret messages like some Matrix shit. The rabbit hole got deeper. A band popped up next. KFC Murder Chicks, made of homeless girls. One of them might have been the same chick from the first 4chan post. Their music description had the word Aristas in it. Then a random Twitter account showed up. Todd Ellsworth, with one creepy-ass, stretched-out portrait, and Aristas in the bio. People were losing their minds. It felt real, too real. But the trail went cold. Just another unsolved digital ghost story. Until 2020. A YouTuber named Toxicologist finally tracked someone down. DJ Roswell. He confessed. Yup, he made it all up. The girl, the tape, the warehouse, the surveillance software, the creepy art. It was all part of a failed ARG to promote his weird-ass band. The terrifying sketch? Just a mugshot from Hawaii. So what was Aristas? Not spyware, not censorship AI. Just a damn marketing stunt that went way too deep and flopped. The Tower That Burned While They Slept, June 14th, 2017. Just before 1 a.m., a man named Behailu Kebede woke up to smoke pouring out of his kitchen. His fridge was on fire. He called 999. Firefighters showed up 5 minutes later. But the fire had already broken through the window. Then it hit the outside walls. Big mistake. The new cladding, cheap plastic crap wrapped in shiny aluminum, turned that building into a torch. By 1:30 a.m., flames were shooting to the roof like hell had been poured onto the walls. People inside were still asleep. Some were live streaming their last moments. One woman on the 24th floor, Rania Ibrahim, filmed the chaos. Her last Snapchat. "Forgive me, everyone. Goodbye." Fire crews told people to stay put. That rule works when one flat is burning, not when the whole building is a matchstick. At 2:47 a.m., they changed their minds. Evacuate everyone. But it was already too late. Only 36 made it out after that call. The fire burned for a whole damn day. 72 dead, mostly poor, mostly minorities. Trapped in a rich neighborhood that didn't care. The fridge was the spark. But the real killers? The cladding, the lies, the corruption. That £8.7 million refurbishment was full of materials that failed fire safety tests, but still got approved because manufacturers cheated, contractors ignored warnings, and officials rubber-stamped garbage. Residents begged them for help. Warned about exposed gas pipes, begged again. Got ignored. In 2024, the truth came out in black and white. Decades of f***ups, cheap shortcuts. The council's building control team said yes to unsafe designs. Management called residents troublemakers when they asked for safety. Why? Because they were poor. Because they were immigrants. Because nobody gave a damn. Years later, survivors are still fighting for justice. Families still asking why their loved ones were left to burn in a tower wrapped in lies. Uncomfortable descent into madness. It all started in June 2011. A weird-ass YouTube channel called Alan Tutorial popped up with a video titled, "How to Leak on a Piece of Paper." No one knew what the hell it meant. Some dude stuttering, mumbling nonsense, ripping up paper, grabbing a fork and saying, "You have to, rinse inside." It was pure gibberish, awkward, glitchy, surreal. Then came more tutorials, more chaos. How to make a windmill out of crap you find in your kitchen. How to put dirt in a tiny bin. Completely useless. And yet people couldn't stop watching. But then things got dark. The guy, Alan, started falling apart. No more awkward charm. He was crying during tutorials. He looked hurt, sick, confused. Some videos had blood, others had bruises. Then came Disc Tutorial, and it was a damn horror show. He gets kidnapped, he slips on his own blood, and yet he keeps recording, still trying to make tutorials, still trying to be seen. Even in captivity, he kept posting videos like he was clinging to the last thread of sanity, reading news headlines, explaining nonsense, surviving with whatever was around him. It stopped being a joke. It started feeling real, and that was the point. Turns out it was all an elaborate performance by artist Alan Resnick, a fictional character, an art project disguised as a YouTube meltdown. But that didn't stop new viewers from panicking. One comment under Disc Tutorial said it best. Either this guy is a brilliant actor, or something terrifying is happening, and we're ignoring it because we think he's a brilliant actor. I'm starting to have my doubts. In December 2014, Alan posted his final goodbye. Just one last upload called Tutorial. No jokes, no chaos, just Alan breaking through a wall and escaping. And then, silence. The character vanished, but the mystery didn't die. Fans tore the videos apart looking for clues. Some believe Alan was autistic, living with a toxic older brother and his girlfriend, who hated him. Eventually, they kicked him out, leaving him to spiral into homelessness. In one video, Blue Chair Tutorial, Alan sobs while moving a chair. Some viewers say it reminded him of finding his mother dead in that same chair. The description? If your chair is on the floor, here is how you get it back and pick up all the pieces of something broken and unfair. Damn. Alan Resnick never explained it, never confirmed a single theory. He just dropped the mic and walked away. And honestly, that makes it even creepier. 97 fans walked in, some never walked out. April 15th, 1989. A cool spring afternoon. Over 53,000 football fans stormed into Sheffield's Hillsborough Stadium to watch Liverpool take on Nottingham Forest in an FA Cup semi-final. It should have been a celebration. It turned into a f***ing nightmare. Liverpool supporters were shoved into the Leppings Lane Terrace, an old-school standing section with only 7 damn turnstiles. That's 7. For thousands of people. Genius move. Behind the scenes, total chaos. Outside, the crowd was choking, packed tighter than a sardine can. Pressure was building, fans were yelling. But instead of fixing the mess, Police Commander David Duckenfield made it worse. At 2:52 p.m., he shouted the dumbest order in UK football history. Open exit gate C. Boom. A tidal wave of bodies surged through. Hundreds of fans, most with valid tickets, were funneled down one tunnel into pens 3 and 4, already stuffed to the brim. There was nowhere to go. Just fences, steel, concrete, bodies. At 3 p.m. the match kicked off. And fans at the front? They weren't cheering. They were suffocating, trapped, screaming, faces crushed against fencing. One guy tried to climb out. That's when the cameras turned. Viewers at home watched in horror as the broadcast cut away from the pitch and zoomed in on what looked like a mass casualty event. But the police? Pitch invasion, they said. Drunken fans, they claimed. It's their fault. Meanwhile, ambulances were blocked from entering. They just sat outside, engines running, while people inside died on live TV. By the time medics were finally allowed in at 3:17 p.m., it was already over for most. 94 dead on the scene. 2 more died in the hospital. A 97th victim never woke up. He died in 1993. They were crushed, suffocated, and abandoned. Kids, teenagers, fathers, mothers, and then came the cover-up. South Yorkshire Police launched a full-blown blame game, inventing the drunk and ticketless myth. Duckenfield, the same prick who ordered the gate opened, went in front of cameras and lied. Said fans forced it open themselves. And the press? Oh, they lapped it up. One headline read, "The truth." Except it was bullshit. All of it. But the families? They didn't give up. For 27 years, they fought. And in 2009, the Hillsborough Independent Panel cracked it wide open. Police had doctored statements, buried safety warnings, and orchestrated a giant f***ing cover-up. In 2014, investigators dropped the hammer. Unlawful killing. Gross negligence. It was never the fans' fault. But guess what? Only one official got convicted. One. The rest walked free. Still, it forced change. Standing terraces were ripped out. Safety laws were rewritten. And in 2023, the UK signed the Hillsborough Charter. A promise to never, ever let this happen again. But for the families of the 97 dead, justice came late, and for some, it never came at all. Something's deeply wrong. This House Has People in It is a bizarre analog horror short that aired on Adult Swim in March 2016. It was directed by Alan Resnick. Yeah, the same guy behind the chaotic Alan Tutorial channel. But while Alan slowly spiraled into madness over time, this story grabs your neck from the first second and drags you into a world that's deeply messed up. It begins with someone logging into a computer and playing a strange video. Suddenly, you're watching CCTV footage from inside a house. 9 cameras monitoring everything. Then it jumps to a couple, Tom and Anne, arguing over vacation plans. Too expensive. No, it's not that expensive. Orlando's expensive. Normal talk, until your eyes drift to a girl lying face down on the kitchen floor. No one's helping her. They don't even acknowledge her. Meanwhile, there's a repairman downstairs doing who knows what in the basement, and their son, Jackson, is in the living room surrounded by birthday decorations, just watching TV like nothing's wrong. Turns out the girl on the floor is their teenage daughter, Madison. 2 hours earlier, she argued with Anne and laid down in silent protest. And nobody has checked on her. When Tom finally tries, he realizes something's horribly off. Madison isn't just lying there, she's stuck. Something is pulling her into the floor. It only gets worse. Madison begins to sink into the kitchen tiles. The repairman throws a plank across her face to stop her from disappearing. It doesn't help. Tom loses his grip on reality and goes on a manic rant in the basement. "I'm ready. I serve you. I praise you." He's cracking, fast. In desperation, they throw a mattress below her to catch her fall. It works. For a moment. Madison lands on the mattress and then vanishes. Just gone. The camera cuts to the empty mattress. She's no longer in this world. Then, chaos. Jackson's birthday guests are shown lying silently in the yard, mimicking Madison's earlier position. Tom and Anne are losing it inside the house. The whole short is soaked in neglect. Madison is ignored for hours while slowly disappearing. Jackson gets zero attention. Even the baby has no food. And when Tom hands her to the grandmother, she casually sets the baby down, and the poor kid ends up crawling right out of the house. Nobody is looking out for anyone. They live in the same house, but they're completely disconnected. One YouTube comment nailed it. "This isn't a home. It's just a house with people in it. Strangers under the same roof." But here's the kicker. That creepy short was just the beginning. It was part of a much bigger universe hidden behind a now-defunct website, absurviolutions.com. People who dug into it found an entire ARG, alternate reality game, packed with secret footage, family chat logs, images, and disturbing extra lore, including hints about a spreading disease in their world. And even now, nearly a decade later, fans are still piecing it together, still trying to uncover every hidden message, every cursed clue buried in this strange, haunted digital rabbit hole.